In order to achieve eternal youth, many people have undergone different aesthetic treatments to stop or slow down the natural aging of our body. And within these treatments, the application of Botox on the face is very common. But no, Botox is not the cause of swollen lips. In these cases, hyaluronic acid or other chemicals are injected as fillers and contouring in the lips. Botox, on the other hand, is a neurotoxin that is injected and works by weakening and paralyzing certain muscles or blocking some nerves, which temporarily eliminates wrinkles but also generates side effects such as leaving the face expressionless. However, Botox injections also have other applications such as strabismus, dystonias, vertebral pain, migraines, hyperhidrosis, or urinary incontinence in paraplegics. Now, Botox is produced from a toxin produced by the Clostridium botulinum bacteria, but what does all this have to do with canned foods? And is it true that this toxin has been considered for possible biological weapons? Sit back and Mr. Food Science will answer you. Botox is the popular name given to the botulinum toxin produced by the bacteria Clostridium botulinum, but before being used for aesthetic facial treatments, this bacteria was discovered back in 1895 after the studies of Emile Pierre van der Mingem, professor of bacteriology at the University of Ghent, after 100 years of research by different professionals, due to hundreds of people with food poisoning and deaths after consuming canned and sausage products, and hence the name of this bacteria, since botulinum comes from the Latin botulus, which means sausage. The discovery of Clostridium botulinum was quite complicated since it grows in the absence of oxygen, so scientists were unable to reproduce it in the laboratory in those years. And the commotion was not for less. Botulinum toxin produces the disease known as botulism, which is characterized by causing dry mouth, nausea, and vomiting, but also, and what is more dangerous, it also causes progressive muscle paralysis and can be a cause of death by affecting respiratory function. This toxin can also be absorbed through wounds, and its toxicity is so high that just 0.09 to 0.15 g of toxin, or in other words, a millionth of a gram, nothing at all, administered intravenously or intramuscularly, can kill a 70 kilograms person, so clearly it was cause for concern. The discovery of this bacteria caused such a stir that it reformed the food industry, since, to avoid this disease, commercial canned foods with low acidity or alkaline content, with a pH higher than 4.5, are currently required to undergo heat treatment of at least 121 degrees Celsius 250 degrees Fahrenheit for the minutes established according to the product and health regulations of each country, in order to ensure proper sterilization. And this is because the bacteria, although it dies between 75 and 80 degrees Celsius, generates heat-resistant spores that allow it to survive conventional cooking between 90 degrees and 100 degrees Celsius. Given the above, if you are thinking of canning or storing low-acidity foods in jars such as meat, fish, and most vegetables, I recommend that you do not do it. Instead, make yourself bread with ham. And yes, regarding the question I asked a while ago, since this toxin is so toxic, it was considered for war purposes to build biological weapons. Because if we do some calculations, with just 1 gram you could kill more than 100 million people. And it is presumed that with just 1 kilogram of botulinum toxin you could annihilate the entire human population. Fortunately, Thanos did not have this toxin. And indeed, during World War II, Nazi Germany designed a system to attack England using botulinum toxin through V1 bombs to spread the poison. But fear of a counterattack apparently halted the project. The Japanese used botulinum toxin in military experiments on Chinese prisoners during their occupation of Manchuria in the early 1930s. But America was not spared from these experiments either, as it is known that during World War II, Canada and the US began programs to study the use of botulinum toxin as a weapon, while later in Chile, during the government of dictator Augusto Pinochet, there was a secret stockpile of the toxin, sufficient to kill thousands of people, which was destroyed in 2008, without the knowledge of the government or the public. Today, botulinum toxin for military use is known as Agent X or XR, depending on its degree of purity, but its use is prohibited by the law, the Geneva Conventions, and the Chemical Weapons Convention. And so we have reached the end of this video. Did you find this content interesting? Leave me your comments about it. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to stay up to date with new interesting facts related to food science. Until next time.